Thank you, Francois. Good day. It is with great excitement that I get to share with you today some of the product enhancements we have been working on to ensure that you and your clients continue to see us as your global partner for offshore needs. Before I go into some of the fantastic developments we have made, we asked a few advisors how they think about offshore investing and solving for client needs. This is what they had to say. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Tuli van der Balk.
I'm Dulcie Wicks.
My name is Maurice Ranach.
My name is Kirsty Stevens.
I'm Maria Smith.
My name is Suzette van Broomsteen.
The main reason why clients want to invest overseas is to give themselves protection against the devaluation of the rand. But they're also frightened by possible taxes and estate duty.
The key motivations for investing internationally are often that clients want to grow their wealth in hard currency. They also would like to hedge themselves against local political and economic risks. And then a lot of clients have family members or some of their kids may be studying abroad. I think the main concerns revolve around trust. There is, whether the regulatory environment and how it works, the security of the platform that we use, and then also to navigate tax and estate complications and complexities across borders.
I find that my clients' key motivation for investing offshore is always centered around fear of the South African economy, which is valid, but it shouldn't be the focus point when investing offshore. You should focus on the access to the companies and sectors that you're getting in your portfolio.
If you have good habits and you put it into practice and you're consistent, you can also create wealth in your lifetime and for your kids to follow you. The reason for investing offshore, I think a lot of times, and today the world has gotten a lot smaller than it ever was before, and people talk a lot more about potentially immigrating or wanting their kids to be able to study abroad one day or wanting to spend some time out of the country. And being able to diversify your money and putting it all over the show helps you to be able to have currencies across the board and being able to protect your money when that happens, because now you have investments in other places. So those are my main reasons.
So their biggest concerns is it's very technical, it's difficult to understand, it's an uncertain environment for them to invest in. So they need guidance to get their money offshore. They want to understand the tax implications regarding that.
At PH Wells Rosebank, we're fortunate enough to have the ability to use various platforms. But for me, it comes down to three basic things. What Momentum does is they offer us fast pricing, quick, efficient processing. They keep us up to date on a daily basis. And at the end of the day, being empowered with exactly what's going on with your client's portfolio results into a proper working relationship. At the level that they price, they offer us access to experts, tax experts, pricing experts, funding experts, system experts. And these things are important to an advisor, because at the end of the day, if you're left with a very low-cost system, but every now and then when there's an issue with a client or a pricing or a tax query, we have no one to go to, then I think it's not worth that low cost. So people and pricing is something that they offer, and it makes a very big difference to us.
The takeouts from that feedback is that we have heard that your clients need to build wealth, to protect wealth, to fund for their children's global education. Let's delve a bit deeper into these needs, starting with intergenerational wealth. Imagine a typical family that looks like what you see on the slide, which also clearly spans over multiple generations, from baby boomers to the latest generation called Generation Alpha. In case you were wondering, the date range for this is 1946 to 2024. That is almost 78 years. But more important is that where previously the focus would have been on property as an investment, Generation Alpha is obviously more focused on digital capabilities with an emphasis on AI. But even more noteworthy is the fact that intergenerational wealth transfer is the most important advice context in which we find ourselves. This is what I want to draw your attention to. A recent study showed that wealth transfer in South Africa is expected to take place in the next decade, where around 70% of wealth is expected to transfer to younger generations. We simply cannot talk about offshore investing without bringing in the rand. As we know, one of the main reasons for offshore investing is hedging against the volatility of the rand. But what does this really mean? Let me show you this by way of an illustration very quickly. In 1994, these 5 coins, or 3 Rand 65, could get you $1. Fast forward that to 2011, $1 is equivalent to 8 Rand 15. It's like swapping the 50 cents for 5 Rand. And finally, let's look at the latest view. In 2025, $1 is equivalent to 18 Rand and 5 cents. Now it is like swapping the 10 cents for 10 Rand. Over the period, this is a massive depreciation. Now we see why offshore investments have been used in the toolkits of advisors, primarily to hedge against this risk. But it is not only for this reason that we see clients externalizing money. Let's look at some fascinating numbers around what it costs to study abroad. The total cost of education for the 3 stages before tertiary education will set you back just short of 2.2 million Rand in South Africa. However, if that is scary, it could easily cost 2.5 times more in the UK and in the US. But in terms of tertiary costs, the ratio is much higher. In South Africa, the yearly cost of tertiary education amounts to approximately 60,000 Rand per annum, depending where you study and what degree you want to study. With parents more inclined to consider options for their children to study overseas, this number ramps up. For international students, the cost goes up to 60,000 US dollars or 45,000 pounds. It's almost like swapping out the Rand sign for the US dollar sign or for the pound sign, which translates to about 1.1 million Rand. This equates to an almost 18 times more expensive option relative to South Africa. Yes, this does mean that in order to service these costs, offshore investments have to be considered. Beyond just the needs to fulfill on high costs of education and hedging against the rand volatility, which are important reasons why clients are increasingly going offshore, there are a few other reasons we want to draw your attention to. The geopolitical environment is complex, as is evidenced by the various economic policies like the US imposing tariffs, which are driving many global markets and their prices currently. People want to invest offshore, as offshore allocations offer a safeguard both against political and economic fluctuations, providing peace of mind. People are also more likely to plan their various life stages in different places around the world. Lastly, global diversification gives access to a broader opportunity set across sectors and geographies. While we have been able to establish some of the trends and comment on what we have seen, is this really backed by the data? What you are looking at is data provided by NMG Consulting, which showcases that over a 4.5-year period to where we are now, we have seen a 53% increase in support of offshore platforms to a sizable new business of just under 45 billion Rand in the most recent time. This is evidence of the fact that the South African platform industry is seeing clients through their advisors fulfilling their needs in a more global playing field. Importantly, we do not see this trend reversing anytime soon. And as such, we have undertaken a thorough review of our offshore investment platform's value proposition. So, what should an offshore platform provider to look to solve for being a partner to advisors and meeting you with your advice context? You need a platform that is built on simplicity, a reliable and secure administration platform like we have already spoken about, digital capabilities and breadth, which I will unpack a little bit further on, distribution support, specialist partnerships, and dedicated servicing, a comprehensive range of products and a wide range of funds and other components, and finally, a cost-effective offering. This brings me to the big reveal. For each element, we have revised our value proposition, and it is now, with great excitement that I might add, that we showcase the Momentum Wealth International value proposition to you. In short, today we are launching our new products with additional succession planning benefits, with new pricing, our enhanced international personal share portfolio proposition, our new fund range, opportunities for trusts and companies to invest offshore, and finally, improved digital processes as part of our journey of evolving to a fully digital proposition. So, our brand new product range with 2 products, the Global Wealth Investment and the Global Wealth Endowment. We believe these products can cater for a wide variety of needs for your offshore clients to really provide them with global investment opportunities whilst catering for their tax requirements and for efficient wealth transfer. The global wealth investment is a flexible, open-ended investment structure ideal for clients who require liquidity and simplicity, who want to manage their own tax affairs or live in tax-neutral jurisdictions. The global wealth investment is particularly well suited for clients who have immigrated or are considering immigration. The tax is not handled within the product, but rather in the client's hands, according to their local tax jurisdiction. This means clients can live and move globally without the need to potentially restructure their investment, making the global wealth investment a powerful solution for portability, control, and transparency. In addition to the Global Wealth Investment, we are also launching the Global Wealth Endowment, which can be selected as a capital redemption bond, a sinking fund, or as a life insurance bond. You will notice how these products offer more structuring opportunities as we move from the left to the right. The Global Wealth Endowment is also a structured 5-year endowment that offers a tax-efficient way to invest. This option is ideal for South African tax residents seeking pure offshore exposure while benefiting from comprehensive succession planning opportunities. The Global Wealth Endowment is well suited for high net worth individuals focused on intergenerational wealth transfer, liquidity via multiple underlying policies, and estate planning efficiency. It also simplifies administration because Momentum Wealth International manages and pays tax in South Africa on the client's behalf according to the 5 funds approach, a tax approach that life insurance companies in South Africa are required to follow. Let me take you through the range of propositional alignments, starting with the one that you all are probably most anticipating, and that is pricing. Looking at the image, which once again serves as a reminder of various generations, if we now consider that each of these generations might have different needs, like saving for the children's education, investing when you have or are planning to immigrate, to invest with the view of long-term wealth accumulation, and to invest to enable efficient wealth transfer. The 2 needs on the left can, of course, be best provided by the Global Wealth Investment, the other 2 by the Global Wealth Endowment. Here, the robustness of the range of products comes to light. As this family has 4 products with the corresponding investment sizes, I can show you what the fees on these investments would have been based on our old pricing structures. Now, with the new launch, there is a considerable reduction in fees. The family's fee reduction amounts to an almost 20% lower fees. But if you thought this was the most exciting development, we are even more bold in our pricing. We are also launching family pricing for Momentum Wealth International. With family pricing, all 4 of these investments will now be paying the same fee of 0.29% or 29 basis points, an almost 40% reduction in the fees that the family would have been paying previously. Let me say that again. The new pricing, together with family pricing, results in just under a 40% reduction in fees. We believe that this additional value will ensure you and your clients can focus on what really matters, your clients and further planning requirements they may have, and to assist in the investment selection process. Now, while I have given you a taste of what the new pricing is, I'm sure the question that is top of mind for you is in terms of competitiveness. Our new products are priced to compete across all investment sizes and compete favorably against the competitors. In a 1-to-1 comparison, we believe we will either be the best price or at the very least be within 0.05% or 5 basis points of the fee of all of our main competitors across all investment sizes. But while price is a key component, we believe platforms also add value in your life beyond just price. The next propositional advancement that I want to speak to is focused on simplicity and providing a more focused fund range. Being an open architecture platform like what we are and continue to be has been one of the contributors to your support in the past. But when is too much choice just too much? At this point, we have in excess of 1,200 funds. This is perhaps too much, right? We have replaced the overwhelming number of funds with a focused range of the most popular funds. This new range of funds are clean priced. You will experience approximately 100 funds. We have also added 30 exchange-traded funds, and just a reminder, we are one of the only few platforms that offer this. Given the increasing adoption of lower cost or more passive solutions, this breadth in our fund range is well positioned for your advice realities and client needs. Importantly, if you feel you might be missing out on a fund, this really isn't the case. We have looked at competitive fund lists, looked at the new business and assets on our own platform, and the new list has more than sufficient coverage for what you all use in your advice process. So a loss? Not at all. Let's move on to succession planning and alternate beneficiaries, specifically together with splitting of contracts. Our products are designed to offer comprehensive succession planning with multiple flexible options wherever possible. Clients can nominate joint or survivorship provisions, appoint beneficiary of proceeds, and designate successive contract owners, which ultimately supports efficient and seamless wealth transfer. These features help reduce the complexity, time, and cost typically associated with death claims, potentially avoiding executive fees and other costs and taxes related to the unfortunate death of a client. We are further enhancing our solution by introducing alternate successors and beneficiaries. This means that if the primary nominee is unable to accept the inheritance, the alternates will automatically step in, providing an added layer of certainty and simplifying the process for both clients and advisors. Let's move on to splitting of contracts. In looking at the picture of the family, which is a reminder of the importance of holistic planning, and recognizing that in many instances, however unfortunate, events like divorce and or death do happen. To ensure robust planning, we are also introducing the ability to split a contract between multiple owners without affecting the investment term. This will allow each owner to take their portion of the contract independently while the overall structure remains intact. The enhancement aligns with our commitment to supporting clients through life changes. As client circumstances evolve, our product will continue to offer the flexibility needed to manage and grow their global wealth with confidence. I will now focus on the breadth of our offering, which continues to be a strong area of the Momentum Wealth International proposition. In terms of choice, we offer a wide range of components, including funds, discretionary model portfolios, international share portfolios, and exchange-traded funds. This remains best in class, we believe. Investors can also benefit from accessing our solution partners, namely Curate, Equilibrium, and Momentum Securities. You will hear from them later. Remember, multiple types of investment components can be held in one contract. Let's turn our attention to international share portfolios, a critical component for offshore planning. Share portfolios are increasingly being used for advisors for offshore planning. The main reasons for this are access to best-in-class shares globally, avoiding concentration risk to markets with small and yet significant market caps like South Africa, and meeting clients on their demands for what they wish to hold individually rather than just through a traditional fund. We also know clients are increasingly wanting exposure to companies like the Magnificent Seven, some of which are depicted here. The main reason for this is that we live in a world of consumerism, and clients increasingly want to own not only the retail items that they have purchased, but want to participate in the investment growth given how many people around the world consume the same item. So yes, offshore share portfolios are one of the most important investment components in offshore planning. We recognize that as a platform that most advisors have direct relationships with their portfolio managers within a share portfolio provider. We have thus enhanced our process to have more custodians, but we have also made it easier for investment managers to be selected. We of course have Momentum Securities, Credo, Perisic, to name a few. We have also just recently onboarded Ramsey Krokel and have already begun the process with Interactive Brokers. Now you have the share portfolio world smaller at your fingertips through Momentum Wealth International. Many South African families today are spread across borders, with children studying overseas, beneficiaries living abroad, or plans to eventually relocate or retire offshore. This makes intergenerational wealth planning more complex and more important than before. Trusts remain one of the most powerful tools for succession planning, but they need to evolve to meet these global realities. If a trust is set up in South Africa and its beneficiaries have offshore needs, such as funding overseas education, supporting living costs abroad, or receiving an inheritance in hard currency, then the trust itself must be able to access global investment opportunities. The challenge is that South African trusts don't have an offshore allowance. They cannot simply externalize funds like individuals can. This is where asset swap capacity becomes critical. By utilizing an institutional asset swap facility, South African trusts can invest directly into offshore markets, giving them access to hard currency investments without needing their own offshore allowance. So we have now, for the first time on our platform, built the capability that will effectively allow South African trusts to invest offshore without needing its own offshore allowance. Another enhancement built with you, the advisor, in mind, as well as your client needs. We are helping you unlock global diversification for your clients' trusts and ensuring the investment strategy aligns with the future needs of their beneficiaries, wherever in the world they may be. As I begin to wrap up, we cannot talk to you about all of these enhancements, some of which can be quite technical, without putting our best foot forward on how we would like to partner with you. I am going to take you through our specialist support model for offshore investing. You are at the center of our support model as depicted here. We also have around 50 on-the-ground specialist investment consultants around the country to support you. In addition, they are assisted by our Momentum Wealth International regional managers that can support you with complex considerations, from tax and succession to legal and fiduciary, as well as product structures, often the more daunting elements of offshore planning. Our partnership also extends to having Momentum Trusts for your estates, trusts, and wills consideration. And one more to highlight is immigration. In this regard, Momentum Group has recently acquired FinGlobal, which has deep expertise that is really there to support the very complex nature of immigration. You will see a short video clip about this at the end of my presentation. For advisors, in addition to distribution support, the service we give to you is of utmost importance. In this regard, we have a dedicated ring-fence specialist service team exclusively focused on Momentum Wealth International related servicing, which ensures priority handling, reduced risk, and consistent service delivery. Our team has an in-depth knowledge and expertise of Momentum Wealth International's unique processes, requirements, and client expectations, enabling accurate, efficient, and context-aware support. We are investing in enhanced service technology. These technologies will enable intelligent call routing and tracking and streamlined email and workflow management, ensuring faster response times and improved service quality. We work closely with our distribution teams to ensure aligned communication and support, helping advisors deliver confidently to their clients. We are committed to service excellence. Every interaction is guided by a commitment to professionalism, responsiveness, and continuous improvement, because Momentum Wealth International clients deserve nothing less. I am most excited to conclude with the final enhancement being our new business online capability that we have been developing side by side with advisors to ensure it meets your every need. To showcase this development, have a look at the video. At this point, I know it's a lot to take in, but don't worry, our investment consultants will be engaging with you shortly to take you through all of these enhancements in detail. Earlier on, I spoke about what is key for an offshore platform provider to deliver in meeting your client needs, but also meeting your advice context. I hope that today you will see that the enhancements we have focused on meets your approval for us to be selected as your offshore platform provider. Whether it is a cost-efficient platform or one that caters strongly for intergenerational wealth transfer and succession planning, or even ensuring your clients' individual investment strategies can be implemented, Momentum Wealth International should be seen as your and your client's true global partner. Thank you.